Let's build a financial model for a subscription app. Really classic, particularly for tech businesses. So we are going to make a tech service, and this could be direct to consumer or it could be direct to business. Let's do something that is direct to consumer, and it's going to have different tiers to it, like ChatGPT or like any of the other services loads of us are signed up to. So it's going to have a free tier, a freemium, and then let's imagine two paid tiers. So one with basic features, one with more advanced one. And let's dive straight in. Great, okay, so we'll go with pounds. That makes sense. I'm in London. Let's imagine this business is a London fresh tech startup. It's going to do a 5-year business model. People can pay monthly or annual. Great, which is what? So we've got a free tier, no one's charged anything. And we've got a basic and a pro and an enterprise. Let's get rid of the enterprise. We'll just do basic and pro. So £10 a month, £100 a year. So it's a nice little discount. If they pay monthly, they pay £120 a year, or they can get the annual price for £100. Perfect, pretty common stuff. Or £25, so 2.5 times, but they get a whole load of other features. Cool, so we're going to do a cold start, so no one at the start. By the end of year 1, we are going to have 1,200 users. And let's do tech startup, big growth. So let's sort of 10,000, then 30. We're sort of timesing by 3 each time, so 100. We get to 100,000 free users by the end, which is probably about right. I wonder what percentage of these become paid. I think a standard is about 5 or 10%, so none at the start, obviously. So let's sort of do 10% would be 120. Let's do a bit less than that. Let's do sort of like 80, and then we'll keep increasing that in the same way. So 80, 300, 400, 500. I can't work out the exact maths on that. And then Pro is going to be much fewer. So we'll sort of do 10% of the 10%. So kind of like 2 or 3% of the total number of users. So we'll call that like 10. And that can go up to 18, and I'm just making up the numbers here. 31, nice little jump in Pro users there. Perhaps some good features, 40 and like 70 or something. Okay, so not a lot of Pro users over the life of the model. Do most people go for monthly or annual? Free doesn't make a difference. Basic. Let's say that most go for monthly. I think most people prefer monthly in general, and even the same with the Pro. Let's say sort of 3/4 go for monthly. Cost of sales, it's not going to be that. Let's just do like our Stripe fees and stuff. Let's imagine there's no actual cost to us. The amount of extra server space we need to rent or computing power is negligible for every new customer. I guess it's probably not totally negligible. So 2% for Stripe, we'll call it 4%, that factors that in. Let's see how this works. So total users, we end up, why is that so much less in year 5? Check that, 70. Oh, I see, because I've gone down to 10,000, not 100. Yeah, okay, cool, let's check this out. Okay, perfect. Okay, I was looking at this figure here. I put 10,000 in, not 100,000. Cool, so we've got our steady growth. Let's see how this translates to revenue. Okay, so we're still not actually making that much money. So perhaps I've not been, I think the pricing's good. I think I've probably just not been bold enough in the numbers. So what I'm going to do is just massively increase these. So that's going to go to 400. This is going to go to 800. This is going to go to 1,200, and this will be 2,000. And these are ridiculously low, ending up with 70 Pro users. So let's kind of work back from this. We've got 2,000 basic users, people paying. Let's imagine we've got sort of like 400 of these, and let's work back. So 300, 200, cool, and 100. And then we've got just our 10. So slow starter. Does this look a bit better? 284 grand. Okay, not huge, but we can afford a small team. It's 270 grand immediate profit. We're going to have some costs. We can afford a small team with that. Okay, so we're going to start right now. Yeah, financial year we'll do March, sort of April to March. It's very standard in the UK. CEO, CTO, yeah, neither of us is on a very good salary, 30 grand, but we're going to be increasing it as the company grows, and we own shares, so we're all good with that. And we're going to need a couple of other people. We're going to need a software engineer Going to have to pay a bit more for a senior software engineer, which is going to cost us, but they're on a lower increase and they'll be there from the start. And then let's just get somebody on marketing. Cool. So quite an expensive team. We'll see how that fares up with the business costs. Add capital expenditure. No, it's just going to be the time we spend coding the platform in advance. Add equity investment. Yeah, let's do a family and friends round of 100 grand. And then let's imagine we do more like a Series A in 2 years' time. Yeah, so that was going to be not March 27, that will be sort of February 28, yeah. Okay, cool, so 300 grand, no loans. Cool, let's see what kind of forecast this produces. Okay, nice. So don't need the AI financial advisor. What I'm seeing is, yeah, we've got our 3 pricing tiers. Revenue nicely increasing. The bulk of it is coming from those basic users, not the pro, which is interesting. Yeah, most people are free by far. Maybe we should have had more paid. I'm not sure. Cash flow is pretty lumpy. Okay, I think it's probably those chunky salaries. What's EBITDA doing? So at the end, in year 5, we just get into profit, only 4 employees. Let's dive into this a bit deeper by looking at our, let's look at our monthlies, and then let's sort of look into this data. So let's look at July next year. So I'm just going to scroll along. Okay, July next year. So I'm looking in this area here. So we're only taking 3 grand of revenue in, right? And our salaries are 14.5 grand. It's all on the salaries, really. Okay, so what that tells me is that if we think we need those people on those salaries to make this business work, then we are going to either need more money or we're going to need to put a lot more money into growth. So we're going to need to raise more at the start, but we're going to need to have much more aggressive revenue figures to show that we're justifying the amount of money we're spending on these salaries because we're going to generate growth. Forecasting losses for a couple of years is pretty standard. For tech businesses, it can be much longer, but really you're expecting to see, in order to compensate from that, you're expecting to see much more ambitious growth targets, which we're not seeing. So I think what I would do is save this and I'd say like pessimistic scenario, and then I'd go back, create another version. I'd use the save version so that all the assumptions are the same, but I'd adjust the growth ones and then change the salaries, try increasing the marketing spend, see what that does, and just play with different scenarios to get a better feel for how your subscription business is going to play out. Give it a go and let me know how you go.